Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Story after what happened in the SEC and what happened in Hartford, Connecticut, baby, number one of the country, UConn Huskies, is Jared McCain. So he had 35 points tonight at Florida State, a Duke freshman record, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. He had 8 threes, which was also a Duke freshman record. Another thing that's kind of crazy when you think about it. And I told you this on the drive down to Auburn from Tuscaloosa. I guess the drive up, technically. Drive west?
Yeah, I don't know.
The drive. We'll just call it the drive. I don't know my directions.
It's not west.
That's
it's east.
That I think this is a really, really important performance from Jared McCain because Duke didn't have Tyrese Proctor tonight. And we kind of know what they're going to get from Jeremy Roach, and you kind of know what you're going to get from Kyle Filipowski. You know, he's a little bit more up and down. But you know what they got from the rest of the roster? Like, they don't really have a guy, especially in their backcourt, that we've seen be able to go off and just completely take over a game by themselves. Because outside of him, Duke didn't really play all that well tonight. How big is this performance from Jared McCain, and what does this mean for Duke moving forward?
Well, I mean, again, I think one of the things for Duke this year is we thought it was going to be the Kyle Filipowski and Tyrese Proctor show, right? We thought they were going to be the duo, and, you know, everybody's going to fill in around them. Jeremy Roach, Mark Mitchell, who's been terrific for the most part this year, McCain, maybe some Caleb Foster, right? Like, I thought TJ Power might give him something. He hasn't. You know, and then McCain, if you remember, had a really bad game at Champions Classic when Caleb Foster erupted. And everybody's like, oh, it's going to be Caleb Foster. Well, it's been McCain. I mean, McCain's been probably – I mean, again – listen, the great thing with Jared McCain is if Filipowski, like Roach can be Roach, and he can give you 12 or 14 a night. Some games he can give you a little bit more, but McCain is capable of being a guy that you can give the ball to and say, hey, go get me a bucket. You can't, it's hard to do that with Filipowski being a big, right? Like, and that wasn't Proctor when he was out there on the court. He just doesn't have that type of personality. They need a guy that you just, again, end a shot clock, you can make a play off the bounce. Like, I think he's a 3-level scorer for the most part, McCain. Well, not great mid-range yet. His mid-range still isn't. But, like, he can get to the basket. He's big, strong, can score, you know, through contact. He obviously, as we've seen, he can shoot it from deep. Like, I just think he gives you another weapon that if Filipowski has one of these games, which he's had a bunch this year, that he struggled.
You know what it is? It's just that the thing that we always talked about with Kentucky early in the season was they have 4 different guys in their backcourt that can win a game by themselves, right? And I think that before today, we didn't really say that about Duke. Like, we said, like, Jeremy Roach maybe. Like, we haven't really seen it from Tyrese Proctor. Caleb Foster had, like, the one game, and then he's just kind of – he's been fine. Like, he hasn't been bad, but he's been a freshman. Right.
So do you think now that, like, McCain's done this, or are you like, hey, you know what? Maybe it is a Final Four team.
I've kind of been leaning – it wasn't just today. Like, I've kind of been seeing them consistently win, seeing them find a way to turn it around, seeing them just there's something about grinding out victories, even if it's not the prettiest thing that you've ever seen in the world, that you're like, okay, like, just keep winning. You know, like all this stuff that we say
won
about
a lot of games lately.
Yeah, like we can say anything we want about Duke. They are currently tied for first place in the loss column, a half game behind North Carolina, in the win column for first place in the ACC. And I think 2 weeks ago we all would have said North Carolina, clear-cut best team in the ACC, top 3 team in America, closest team to UConn and Purdue, and Duke is tied with them for first place.
Can I ask you a question?
No.
How many games has Duke lost since December 2nd? When they lost to Georgia Tech on the road. How many games have they lost?
Haven't they won like 16 of the last 18?
2. Now, again, Pittsburgh at home was not a good loss. That was a bad one.
They were missing some people.
That was a bad one, yes. And then, you know, the Carolina loss, which was really no major shame. Like,
yeah, it's losing at Carolina.
That's what I'm saying. And they weren't, like, blown out.
You're supposed to lose that game.
Right. So, like, to me, and you're right, like, against Duke,
I'm still not – look, the biggest thing with me, and we can kind of move on after this, but the biggest thing for me with Duke is that they don't – there's – Chris Mack made this point much more eloquently than I could, but, like, they just don't really have those dogs, right? But at a certain point, if you have enough talent, that doesn't necessarily really matter. So all I'm saying is I still think the concerns are the concerns, but I do think that knowing you have this guy that can go out and win a game for you, if you need him to win a game for you, is something that is an impact, and it has impacted the way that I view this program.
I think they're a Final Four caliber team now.
I think they can get there.
Right.
Like they can get there. They probably wouldn't be, I wouldn't call them a favorite, but they can.
Do you like, okay, Duke, Kentucky? Who are you taking right now? You got to put your entire 401k.
I think probably Duke, because I don't think the lows are as low as what you're going to see with Kentucky.
Right.
And in the tournament, it's not about the highs. It's about like the lows and how low are the lows going to be.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.